Basic question people have been asking in the aftermath of this horrible story. Why was DeCarlos Brown on the streets? Why wasn't he behind bars? Now, Brown had been in trouble before, quite a bit of trouble, in fact. He was convicted of felony breaking and entering back in 2014. He was on probation for that when he was busted again. He was charged with robbery with a dangerous weapon and possession of a firearm by a felon. In that case, he was held until trial. He was convicted and he served more than 5 years in prison. Now, after his release, records show twice in 2024 and then once again in January of this year, he was accused of misusing 911. Jason St. Aubin is a defense attorney here in Charlotte.
So when you're looking at a misuse of 911 call, you're looking at what we call class 1 misdemeanor. It's only punishable by up to 120 days in custody at most.
Meaning if he had immediately pleaded guilty, he would have been out before summer. Of course, that didn't happen. And as is typical of this kind of charge, he was released with an order to appear back in court. The issue, though, is what led to the charge in the first place. Brown, when he made that last 911 call, was near Novant Health, and he told police he had been given a man-made material that was controlling him. It's why his attorney would file a motion in court questioning Brown's capacity to proceed. More than 2 months before the killing of Irina Zarutska in July, a judge ordered that forensic evaluation. It was to happen within 7 days, but Brown did not show for it.
So usually in the jail, they'll go straight there. If they're out, though, it's a matter of contacting that person, finding them. If they're homeless, that's going to be very difficult. That person may never receive notice or have means of receiving notice that it's their time to get that interview. That doesn't make it a good situation at all, because that person needs that help. That person needs to be evaluated.
Would it be common or uncommon then for a judge to move quickly on that once an appointment has been missed? Or does this happen quite frequently, that it sort of just gets lost in the shuffle for a while?
And that's a great question, Jamie. It's rare that this happens. I represent a great number of people in this community that have severe mental health issues, and most of them are charged with felonies or serious crimes that I represent. So it's honestly very rare. Most 90%, 95 even percent of the time, in my experience, someone who has a significant mental health problem is not going to be able to bond out of custody on the charges I represent them on.
And again, Brown was not facing a serious felony. It was a low-level misdemeanor. But St. Aubin says the case does point out a flaw in the system. After his arrest in January, there was an opportunity to ask more questions about his mental health.
So if someone is arrested by the police, or if a magistrate sees them, and could make or have a screening tool or make some determinations as to whether that person is a danger to themselves or to other people because of their mental health, then there are avenues under North Carolina law to have them treated, committed, and given access to help.
So does that happen now, where if someone is indeed held, are they getting mental health access immediately in the jail?
We do have a mental health wing in the Mecklenburg County Jail. That wing is dedicated to housing and treating people who have mental illness. In the last few years, the capacity program has grown to now people are getting treated in the jail, and doctors in the jail are actually helping these folks get medication, become ready for the court process, and it is a very good program. If he was immediately placed there, given medication, assessed, and given some treatment, that's, I think, how we can keep these folks from being in a position when they're out that they might be more dangerous.
We heard federal prosecutors and the FBI mention, that the system failed here in this case. Do you think it failed, and if so, where?
So the failure of the system is not the failure, I think, that most people would consider. The failure of the system is not, we didn't hold this person in custody on this charge that occurred in January long enough. But there are failures in the system that, if changed, could drastically affect the future incidents like this. Making sure that when somebody's arrested for something that shows a significant mental health risk, that person is screened for that mental health risk, that they're given a bond and that they are held in a secure facility so that during the time we can hold them, they're getting good treatment. That requires more training and resources, and it would solve a lot of these problems in a way that I think would make the community much safer.